All right, thanks everybody for watching this recorded nursing information session. We do these 4 times a semester in person, but obviously we've got some stuff going on. So today we wanted to record this so that you can kind of watch it later. So I am Quentin Overocker, Director of Admissions, Records, and Transfer Services here at IVCC, and I'm joined by two really special people, so I'll let them introduce themselves.
Go ahead,
Hi.
Valerie.
Hi, I'm Valerie Calvetti, a counselor with Illinois Valley Community College.
And I'm Laura Hodgson. I'm the program coordinator for the nursing at IVCC.
Okay, so we're going to jump right in to the presentation. And so let me just share my screen. And as soon as I can figure out how to run a computer, we will be good to go and off to the races. Okay, so like I said, this is our nursing admissions information session PowerPoint. So we're going to walk you guys through this. When students do come to them on campus, we print out a whole host of materials. We print out this PowerPoint session. So that will be available if you want to get a hold of us with that. And so we're just going to jump right in today. So I cannot stress this enough, and Valerie can speak to the importance of this too. But if you're considering the nursing program here at IVCC, whether it's this coming fall, whether it's 2 or 3 or 4 falls from now, the single most important step that you can take right now is to meet with an IVCC counselor to discuss your educational timeline and goals. If I could shout this from the rooftops, I would. Valerie, do you want to talk just a little bit about, we're going to get into specifics later, but do you just want to underscore the importance of meeting with a counselor?
I'd just like to say at this time it's critically important, especially with COVID-19. The game is changing daily, so please stay in touch with us, especially if you are taking a certified nurse's aid class or haven't done that yet. And again, we'll talk more about this as we go forward.
Absolutely. Thanks, Valerie. And so there's different ways to get a hold of them, but it really starts with emailing the counseling center or giving them a call, and they'll respond to the voicemail very quickly and get things started. So what do we offer at IVCC as far as nursing is concerned? We have an associate's degree in nursing. So that's a 2-year full of nursing courses program, and you would end up with an associate's degree. You would be an RN. We also offer a certificate in licensed practical nursing program, which is a 1-year program. It's fall, spring, and then summer. And then once you graduate with that certificate, you can go to work as an LPN. Both programs are limited admission, which means you don't just apply and you're in. So you can apply to the college, to IVCC. You'll be into IVCC. You can start taking courses, but you also have to submit an application to the nursing program. We'll talk about that in a bit. Students who have the minimum requirements for admission are not guaranteed. That goes back to the limited admissions. We do score applicants and determine who gets in, who doesn't. For fall of 2019, we admitted about 80 students. That's historically pretty similar. So it's going to be about 80 students, 60 of which are admitted into the RN program, the associate's degree, 20 of which are admitted into the LPN program. As always, the total number is subject to departmental review. There's a lot of considerations that Laura and her team have to make for sizes, but it'll probably hover right around 80. So the biggest question is, how do I apply to the nursing program? And then what criteria are you guys going to use to score me? So we wanted to give a couple timelines. For those of you that are currently in the middle of the application process, here's the timeline that you've been adhering to. So the letter of intent, which will show you what that letter of intent looks like in a moment, that opened up November 14th of 2019, and it closed on February 13th of this year. So if you're hoping to join the nursing program in the fall of 2020, but you haven't submitted a letter of intent, unfortunately, you will have to wait until the following year. The pre-nursing assessment exam, and we have some updates on that, that was supposed to be in April 2020. Obviously, as a result of the COVID pandemic, we don't want people gathering in large groups. So if you are a current applicant to the nursing program and you're watching this now, check your Blackboard nursing site for a letter from Laura Hodgson. We are canceling the A2 exam, the HESI exam for this year. It's not going to be part of the requirements. For all details, though, look at the letter that Laura Hodgson posted to the Blackboard site. All of the documentation required that you need to submit is still going to be due May 15th, 2020. I've been working with students actively on that. If you have questions or if there's things that come up, we obviously want to work with students. We will let you guys know whether you got in or not May 2020. Usually it's going to be, and we don't anticipate any change this year, it's going to be the weekend or Memorial Day weekend. We're going to try to send letters out on Wednesday or Thursday before Memorial Day so that you get the letter that basically tells you if you got in or if you didn't. And then you'll start to register for those courses in June. And obviously that's all fluid as far as course registration and stuff. But as far as letting you know whether you get in or not, that's going to stay the same at the moment. If you're looking at next year, so if you're looking at fall 2021, here's what your dates are going to be. November 12th of this year is the letter of intent is going to be open, and it's going to close February 11th. We do encourage students to pick up and fill out that letter of intent as early as possible, because in the event of a tie score, seldom happens, but it has happened once or twice. Let's say you get the exact same score as another nursing applicant. We will go based on, the tiebreaker will be when you filled out that letter of intent. So if you can come to the office, or again, if things change, we'll let you know. If you can fill out that letter of intent as soon as possible, maybe that week in November, maybe the following week, you're going to be fine. So the pre-nursing assessment at this point is scheduled for April 2021. We'll talk about that in a moment. All your documentation is going to be due May 19th. Same deal for notification, just a year in advance. So next year, we'll let you know. You should get the letter right before Memorial Day, and then registration will be in June. So here's what your letter of intent looks like. Fortunately, you're not writing, "Dearest Valerie Calvetti, it has been a very long time since I last scored." It's not that at all. Basically, it's just a form where we want you to fill out your demographic information, your name, your mailing address. We want to make sure that we can get you into the system, or if you're in the system already, we can find what we need to find. With that letter of intent, there's a couple of sections here. This program applying for, RN and LPN, and then there's the preference. Most students, the vast majority of students, are considering the RN as their eventual end goal. Even if it's not for right now, I strongly urge you to say that you're applying for both the RN and the LPN program. And then as far as the preference is concerned, you should list the program that's going to be your end goal. So if you're thinking right now, you know what, I can only swing 1 year. I just want to get that LPN and get straight to work. But eventually I'd like to get my RN. I would strongly encourage you to still prefer this RN program. Simply because if you say, you know what, because we do know that there are certain students who say it's the LPN and that's it, and I'm never going to do the RN. Let me silence my phone. I apologize for that. If they are simply looking at the LPN, we do want to get them in the LPN program. We want to give them preference. But the flip side of that is if you only apply, if your preference is for that LPN, and then maybe you change your mind to RN, you're locked into that LPN. So just in summation, that was a lot of words, I know. Apply for both I apply for both the RN and the LPN, and prefer the RN if that's even a slim chance. So here's where we talk about kind of the boring part. What do you need to submit to us so that we can consider? So first things first, we need proof of residency. We want to see, we'll talk about that in a minute, but we want to see, are you an IVCC district resident? We need official high school transcripts or your official GED HSE score report. We need official college transcripts from any institution that you attended. Even if they're not going to be part of that consideration, we still need your college transcripts. We need you to take the placement test, or you could potentially place out of it with your ACT, SAT scores. We're going to talk about all these in depth, and Valerie's going to take over, thankfully, for the placement test here in a moment. So we'll get into that. And then you need to complete the CNA. This is often not the case at four-year universities where you need to complete the CNA first. Here at IVCC, you do need to complete that CNA before you can start taking nursing courses. And it's really, really important. So this kind of goes back to talking with that counselor early and often, because you've got to schedule that. So for proof of residency, basically the deal is we admit our district residents first. That's because so many other community colleges offer nursing programs. We want to give those residents of those districts, their first chance at their program. We prefer ours. We don't want to poach students from other districts. So if you do happen to be an out-of-district student who does want to take the program here, there's a couple ways that you can prove your residency. You can work in the district over 30 hours. There's other documents that you can help. But the bottom line is it's very, very complicated if you're not a resident of that district. Just email me, Quentin_Overacker@ivcc.edu, and I'll work with you. We'll get things straightened out and I'll get you an answer. So that's the proof of residency. Valerie, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about the placement requirements, because this is a common question for students. So how do I figure out if I meet the placement requirements to get into the nursing program? Valerie, take it away.
The placement testing requirements are in English, reading, and mathematics. If you have ACT or SAT scores within a certain amount of time, they may be eligible to waive the placement test requirement. But that's something each of us will go over with you to see if you qualify. In addition to the placement testing, I need to mention now, and if you're seeing this after April 30th, as we mentioned, updates will be coming regularly. The IVCC Assessment Center is closed, so you're not able to sit face-to-face and take placement. They're anticipating after April 30th, you will be able to sit for placement testing. But again, that is a fluid date based on what's going to happen going forward with this pandemic. If you'd like, you can log on to www.ivcc.edu/assessment, ASSESSMENT, or you can log on to Assessment Center at IVCC. This is where the latest information will be posted. You're also able right now to schedule placement testing, but again, you'll be notified if that date is moved forward. The placement that you need is placement into college level English Composition 1 and placement out of basic mathematics, basic algebra. Those are, again, things that we'll go over with you. So I won't get into the detail of the scores. All that is available online at ivcc.edu. But if you have any questions at any time, please call us at 815-224-0360, 224-0360, and you'll be routed to a counselor.
Thanks, Valerie. And that, again, shouting from the rooftops, contact a counselor with any questions. They are the experts in trying to figure out, where you sit and if you need to retake the placement or whatever meets. So talk to a counselor. So here's that certified nursing assistant completion. So we need to see, did you take that CNA exam? And if so, did you take that CNA test? And if so, did you take the certification exam? Because we want to make sure that you're on the state registry. We need you to complete that during the spring semester prior to your first nursing courses. So for fall 2020, anybody who's applying for that, you need to have completed the CNA at least this spring semester, if not earlier. Obviously, there's a lot of changes surrounding that. And so that's where reach out to me if you are enrolled in a CNA course for this spring and things changed. We're going to work with students. But moving forward, this is a very, very strict requirement. You need to complete that CNA prior to getting into the program. You can check for yourself if if you took that CNA test and you just want to make sure you're on that CNA registry website. We've got the link down here, or you can just Google IDPH Health Worker Registry, and that'll pull you up and you can search yourself by name. Here's an example of what you'll see. So you search yourself. This is one of our current nursing students, and we can see that she actually completed the training on July 17th of 2019. She took the competency evaluation in August, and she is on the registry, and she's good to go. So if, let's say you took it, maybe you took your CNA 6 years ago, here's what we need to see. We need to see that you've been actively working as a CNA, because there's a lot of those skills, the 21 basic skills that we're looking for, that if you haven't been actively using them, nurses obviously use those all the time. So we want to see that you've actually been working as a CNA in the past 3 years. So for fall 2020 admission, we want to see from May 2017 through now, have you worked at least 1,020 hours? You can show that by a few different methods. So we need to see it directly from the employer. You can't just self-report that. So if your employer sends a letter to us on their company letterhead and they say, Valerie Calvetti has been working as a CNA in the past 3 years and she's exceeded 1,020 hours, we will accept this. If, let's say, we've had a few students where they used to work at a nursing home that's out of business, we will look at pay stubs. We don't care what you make. We're not looking at that. We are looking at how many hours you've worked in the past 3 years. As long as they total 1,020, you're good and we'll accept that. If you didn't work those 1,020 hours, that's where you'd want to take the ALH 1215 Certified Nursing Assistant Refresher course by the spring semester prior to your first nursing course. So we want to see that you're up to snuff, that you've got the skills, you remember all that sort of stuff. So a CNA course is usually 8 weeks, and it's a full-time job during those 8 weeks. This refresher course is, I believe, 3 to 4 weeks. Does that sound about right, Valerie?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can take that, and it's not going to completely upend your life like those 8 weeks, but you can get it done in a shorter period of time. If you're not on the registry at all, that's an issue where reach out to me. I can verify that for sure, but you may need to retake that ALH 1214. Okay, so you've submitted all those documents. Now, how do we figure out who we let in, who we don't? So how are the applicants scored? Here are our criteria. I can't stress this enough. For fall 2020, things have changed. If you are an applicant, check your Blackboard for a letter from Laura. She explains what's going on with that. But moving forward for fall 2021 and beyond, here's how we'll rank and admit you guys. The completion points for the 5 core courses, which we'll talk about in a moment, the 5 core course grade points, and then the weighted scores on an A2 exam, the pre-nursing assessment exam. It's called A2, it's the HESI. And then you can actually take a look at our scoring methods on www.ivcc.edu/nursing calculator. That'll give you a little bit of a kind of a preview of how we do it, but we're going to get into the details right now. So your core courses are going to be Bio 1007, Anatomy and Physiology 1, 1008, Anatomy and Physiology 2, 1009, which is Microbiology, ALH 1000, Intro to Nutrition, and ALH 1002, Human Growth and Development. Those are the 5 core courses that we're going to use to formulate a score for you to see if you get into the nursing program or not. So what does completion points mean? That basically means that you took those 5 core courses and you got a minimum grade of a C, or you earned a minimum grade of C or better. If you struggled, you know, there were things going on in your life and you got a D, we're not gonna be able to score that. That doesn't say successful completion for us. So we need a C or better, and they have to have been completed less than 7 years from the time of evaluation. So for fall 2020, we need to see that you've taken those courses in spring 2013 or more recently. For fall 2021, if you're looking at applying for next year, filling out the letter of intent starting this November, it's got to be before or spring 2014 or more recently. If you did repeat the course, let's say you took a Nat and Phys and again, things were going on in your life, you didn't do so hot, maybe you got a C and you just didn't feel like that was the best representation, you retook it, we're only going to focus on that higher grade. So we do allow for repeating the courses. So this is going to be a maximum of 20 points. 4 points each for 5 courses, there's 20 points. Core course grade points. So this is where we're actually looking at the same courses. So 1007, 8, 9, ALH 1000, 1002, again, we need to see a minimum grade of C. We also need to see that same timeline I referred to. This is where we're going to give you points based on how well you did in the course. If you got an A, you're going to get a higher level of points than if you got a B or a C. Again, we'll take a repeat. But what's really important to note at this moment, and I'm going to turn this over to Valerie for this question, but we often get the question, what happens if I didn't take Bio 1009, but I still want to apply to the program? How does that affect me? Valerie, do you want to take that over?
Yeah, before I answer that question, Quentin, there is something I would like to mention. Those 5 core courses have some concerns. Anatomy and Physiology 1, that was Bio 1007, has to be taken before Biology 1008, Anatomy and Physiology 2. Biology 1009, Microbiology, is an advanced biology class. So as you're planning your schedule, you either need to have a college level biology class or the Anatomy and Physiology 1, that Bio 1007, prior to taking Bio 1009. Anatomy and Physiology 1 is typically offered in the summer and in the fall. But most importantly, Biology 1008, Anatomy and Physiology 2, is only offered in the spring. So as you're laying out your courses, those are very key things to consider. Let's say you have taken 4 of the classes, as Quentin mentioned, and maybe not microbiology, then not only will you be impacted by not completing, so you'll lose those completion points, and also not having a course grade factored into your calculation, you're going to suffer with your score, especially now since the A2 has been waived given COVID-19. In addition, if you don't complete the general education courses, meaning for the RN, the English Comp 1, 2, the Psych, and the SOC, prior to starting the program, then you'll have to take them in the semester in which they're prescribed in the program, and we can help you understand that.
Thanks, Valerie. So yeah, that sums up the question. So then when and we've got some Valerie's advice, which is great. So Valerie, I'm going to turn it right back over to you.
I know we're going through a lot of things here. There's an awful lot of information, and you're going to hear stories like you've never heard before once you consider the nursing program. Let me just say, take a deep breath. There's enough stress right now. You don't need to add to that stress. Just do the best you can. You're only competing against yourself. We never really know who that pool of candidates are and how strong and what they bring to the table from year to year. We can tell you what may have happened the year prior, 2 years prior, but that will not impact the year going forward. Do the best you can. A slow and steady effort typically yields the best results. Here's a tip that I received from our professors time and time again: spend as much time as you can in the lab. The more time you have hands-on in the lab, the better you'll do in the class. Get to know your instructors. It's better that they know who you are so they can help you and adjust to your needs. Also, reach out for help as soon as you need it. Don't wait, and please take advantage of our free tutoring. Log on to www.ivcc.edu. There are all kinds of links that will help you going forward, or call us in the Counseling Center, 224-0360, area code 815.
Okay, thank you, Valerie. Sorry, did I cut you off or no?
No.
Because I can get talking and I'll go on till next week. So definitely interrupt me. All right, so for the pre-nursing assessment exam, I've said this a million times, and I'm probably going to say it a million times more. You need, if you're a fall 2020 applicant, refer to the information on your Blackboard site sent from Laura Hodgson, who's on with us today. She explains what's going on with that. But if you're looking at next year, again, if you're looking at for the fall 2021 admission cycle, I'm going to turn it over to Laura to talk about what this exam is like and some of the details surrounding it. Laura, go ahead.
Well, hello to everyone. I turned off my screen for a while because I really don't sit still well, so I'm up running around all over the place. Um, I wanted to talk just a little bit about the A2 because I want to make sure that you understand this isn't an overwhelming test. You and Valerie, what great advice. Wonderful, wonderful advice. We could all use that advice in our life. So thank you for that free counseling session that you just gave me. Great, thank you. But anyway, the A2 is built on math, reading comprehension, vocabulary, grammar, and anatomy and physiology. Each one of the tests are the content areas are 30 to 50 questions long. It's not an overwhelming test. Quentin, can they see me now?
They will in
Yes,
one moment.
yes, they can. When you
Oh,
talk, they
okay.
can see you.
Oh, okay. So I just wanted to show you this book. And again, Quentin mentioned that there'll be a perspective nursing Blackboard course always set up for you. And so once you put your letter of intent in, I grab a hold of you. I grab a hold of you, put you into the perspective nursing course in Blackboard. And we have a little community page that you have access to me all the time or any questions that you have. I put lots of information on there so that you're not out there just wondering what's going on. You have that security for that course there. And I wanted to show you that this A2 review book is, I'm showing you from the side, it's not this overwhelming volume of information. It's a small workbook. I'll put it online, let you know the edition that we're using. You can get it in the bookstore. You can get it on cheapbooks.com, whatever you want to do. I always put 2 copies in the library for you in case you want to go in and just take a glance at it. And again, Valerie's advice is great. There's always help at IVCC, whether it's financial, academic, whatever you need, we're here to help you. And we want you to be successful. So if you've been out of high school for a while and you need to shore up on math, or you need to have some review on grammar, vocabulary, that's what we're here to help you with. And again, like Quentin said, the exam usually happens in April, and you'll make an appointment through the assessment center, and that's about it. Quentin, anything else I missed?
No, that was great. So we'll go right back to the presentation. Laura did a great job of covering that. Just know that you can only take it once per year. And when you fill out your letter of intent, we actually require you to pay for that nursing exam, that A2 HESI exam, before you can fully submit your letter of intent. Basically, we want to make sure that you guys are committed to applying. And so that's where you're going to pay for that fee when you submit that letter of intent. Valerie, do you want to add anything else about
How did you know?
that?
I just wanted to mention that the A2 test, even though you can take it next April, it does not carry over. So once you take the test, that score stands for that year. And then the next year going forward, if you retake it and reapply to the program, then it will be new. And also going back to the grades, if you repeat a class, we'll take the higher of the 2 grades.
Absolutely. So that's the scoring. So basically, we look at your completion points for those courses, we look at your grade points, and then we look at the results of the A2 HESI exam. We total them up. And as Valerie alluded to a little bit earlier, we can't ever say, okay, if you're on that nursing calculator, we can't ever say if you get this score, you're in, because as she mentioned, the class changes from year to year. So there is no standard cutoff. If there's one class where maybe the cutoff is going to be 56 points to get into the RN program, there may be another class where the cutoff is going to be 52. It's so dependent on that class. As Valerie said, you're only competing against yourself. Do as good as you possibly can. So once we do that scoring, once we let you guys know who got in, who didn't, if you didn't get in, you're going to get a letter where we basically place you on a standby list. And so it's students who apply and who meet the minimum requirements but don't make that cutoff, you're going to be on that standby list. if an opening does occur, so it does not happen often, I can't stress that enough. You guys know better than anybody, if you're watching this, you are committed, you're hyper focused on the nursing program, you guys know what you're doing. So there's not a whole lot of movement, but we do see life circumstances change. A couple of years ago, we had somebody had an unexpected move, so she gave up her spot. We'll go to that standby list and we'll take the number one student on the standby list. So if it was an RN who declined their offer, we'll go to number one on that list, and that person will move. Sometimes that opens a spot in the LPN program, so it can be kind of double movement. But again, I can't stress enough, not a whole lot of movement does occur from that standby list. But we'll let you know what number you are, what order the standby list is for you, so you can kind of have an idea. And then, as Valerie mentioned with the A2 exam, standby lists do not carry over. So if you just missed the cutoff, and let's say you're number one on the list and you didn't get into the program, unfortunately, we're going to do it all over again next year. So we'll have your documents. You won't need to resubmit those. We'll reach out if we have specific questions about them, but we will be scoring everybody all over again. So this kind of goes a little bit with that. So let's say you were on that standby list and you want to figure out, okay, what's my academic plan now? Because I'm going to be delayed in what I had hoped to achieve for a year. Again, going back to call a counselor, talk to a counselor. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Valerie to talk about, okay, just in general, we talked about the 5 core courses, but what else do I need to be doing? So Valerie, take it away.
The additional courses that you need are sometimes referred to the general education classes. For the RN, the registered nurse, and for the licensed practical nurse, a certificate, you need English Composition 1. That's ENG 1001 on your screen. For the LPN and the RN, you need Psychology 1000. That's the PSY 1000 on your screen. And then for the RN, you need also English Composition 2, which is the ENG 1002 on your screen. And the SOC 1000 is Sociology. That's an introductory sociology class. All those classes need to have a grade of C or better. In order to get into English Composition 1, as I mentioned earlier, you'll need placement testing in English and reading, or have high school scores, multiple measure scores that meet the standard requirement, or test through an ACT or SAT score. Faculty have said to me through the years that they recommend, it is not required, but it would certainly help, ALH 1001, which is medical terminology. Medical terms are a large part of course requirements, especially when you get into anatomy and physiology. Strategies for College is at SC 1000. In Strategies for College, you'll look at all the resources the college offers and how you can be successful with that, as well as ALH 1202, which is a class in mathematics for those going into medicine. Also, Bio 1200 is another class which is a precursor to anatomy and physiology. It's human body structure and function. Students who take human body structure and function, that Bio 1200 on your screen, and the ALH 1001 medical terminology, according to the faculty, seem to be much stronger when they get into the more rigorous classes of anatomy and physiology 1 and 2. That was at Bio 1007 and 1008. These classes that I just mentioned, these core general education classes, do not have to be completed prior to acceptance into the nursing program. However, if you fail to complete the general education courses as they're prescribed in the program, then you will not be able to sit for the NCLEX exam, that National Council of Licensure examination, with your class, and may have to sit out a year more. So it is strongly recommended that while you have the time, you complete these minimal general education courses as well. Quentin?
Yeah, so with that, Valerie, you've just given us an awful lot of good information. What does that look like? This is a question that I think whether students ask or not, it's on their mind. if I come to you, Valerie, tomorrow and I say, you know what, I really, really want to be a nurse. I want to do that program here at IVCC. What's my next few years going to look like? And that's where this is actually, Valerie, I don't know if you remember or not, but you drew this on the board about a year and a half ago. I took a picture of it and then I tried to make a digital form. So this is all thanks to you.
I was going to say, I think my writing is very clear.
So I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about a sample timeline. I'm going to say, I know you're going to say though, it's incredibly important to know this is a sample. This is a one particular student, fictional student. It's going to change for everybody, but here's an example. Valerie, back to you.
So this sample we have on the screen indicates you need no remediation, meaning that you place right into college level English, that you placed out of the math requirement. You are working at college level and ready to go. It also precludes that you have 8 weeks to put into a summer course, either 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week, or during the day, all day. So the first class up there says summer semester ALH 1214. That's an 8-credit class, which is certified nurses aid class. In that class is eligible for financial aid if you are looking into the nursing program or seeking a nursing degree. As a standalone class, it is not covered by financial aid, but please see a counselor so we can talk to you further about that. Year 1, which would begin in the fall semester, which is August, would include Anatomy and Physiology 1. Remember I said that was a fall or summer offering. You can bump that back to the summer if you'd like. And then English Composition 1, ALH 1000 is Nutrition, and PSY 1000 is Psychology. So that would be your fall semester. Then in the fall semester, you would apply for the nursing program in November, and then Quentin will give you the dates up through, he's already talked about that for 2020 and 2021, so you can refer back to that screen. In spring semester then, Bio 1008, which is Anatomy and Physiology 2, that is only offered in the spring semester. So if you miss Anatomy and Physiology Bio 1007 in the fall or the summer prior, you're going to extend your time preparing 1 entire year. The other thing I'd like to point out is Bio 1009, Microbiology, is the second class. That would mean you're taking Anatomy and Physiology 2, a lab science, along with Microbiology, another lab science. Both very rigorous courses, both requiring a lot of time in the lab. In addition, there would be English Composition 2, and then ALH 1002, which is Human Body Structure and Function. No, it's not Human Body Structure and Function. ALH 1002 is, I went blank, somebody help me out.
Human Growth and Development.
Human Growth and Development. Yay, that he was paying attention. I was just testing Quentin. I saw him looking down. So then in the summer semester, you could pick up sociology. You could swap out soc for psych. There are all kinds of ways that we can work this. If you approached in this manner, this would be a very, very rigorous first year. And then you would go into your nursing classes starting in the fall. There's an orientation in the summer. Then you would go to spring. If you're in the LPN program, you're going to continue on through the semester of summer, the summer session, and the RNs will take a break and start again up in year 3. So this is just one example. This is where the rubber meets the road. This would be a very fast-paced approach. So I suggest, as did Quentin and Laura, that please see us so we can help you plan around your life. If you have children, if you have other responsibilities, we need to talk and work out what's best for not only you, but for your family. Again, let's keep this stress-free.
Thank you, Valerie. I appreciate you going into that. And it's really, really valuable information. And as she said, any questions about that, call a counselor. So now here's some other requirements for the nursing program. This is not necessarily part of our criteria for nursing admissions, but this is absolutely essential to begin the nursing program. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Laura to talk about what's required.
Quentin's right. To be in general classes at IVCC, you're not going to need all these health requirements. But once you get into the program, we send you out to specific sites that we have to follow their health requirements as far as physical, immunization, CPR, all of the things that I have listed here. And the reason why we like to give you a heads up is because some of these requirements can be expensive. So if you can do anything ahead of time, that would be great. There are certain things that are very time specific that you cannot do. You don't run out and get a physical today and think it's going to be good a year from now. So of course you wouldn't do that, but that's just an example. So like the physical and the drug screen and the CPR, TB skin test, those are something that you're going to do the summer prior to coming in. So when you get your notification that you're in the end of May, we try to meet with you in June. And in June, I'm going to talk to you at length, probably for about 2 hours on many of the requirements, and not just health. There's many other requirements that we'll be talking about. So definitely having that face-to-face meeting will help. But not time-specific things that you can do now that would help you out in the future. Look for your immunization record. Go back and ask whoever raised you, mom and dad and aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, whoever raised you. Go and ask them for your immunization record if you don't know where it's at. They may have this wonderful baby book and have all your immunizations in there. That would be great. You can look for your MMR, measles, mumps, rubella, your tetanus, hepatitis B. If you're a certain age, you might have had those when you were an infant. Varicella, which is chicken pox. So definitely, like Quentin said, there was a handout in the folder there, and that'll be online. I have that on your, when you get into the program, your first year nursing and your prospective nursing student page. So there's lots of information out there, but if we can give you anything for a heads up, this is some of the things that you can work on ahead of time.
Thanks, Laura. And I'm going to go right back to you for the drug testing and criminal background check, just some specifics on that.
Yeah, and we give this, there's a heads up on this too, that when we meet with you again in June, we go through this testing policy. I also have it on the Blackboard page. Just so that you know that if there's some things that in your past, as far as criminal background, most of the things we definitely can work with. If you had a felony for some reason, there's certain things that we're going to have to look at. We definitely like to give you a heads up on the drug testing and the criminal background checking, because you are going to go into facilities and take care of patients. And in order to get a license, we're going to have to do this again now, and you'll do it again when you apply for your state board forms, your state boards. So again, it's not really costly, but $52 to $55 for each one of these tests, but it all adds up. So if you can start saving now, figuring out, what I want for Christmas is the money to pay for all my immunizations. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so that's just a little bit of a heads up, and I hope I didn't miss anything.
No, I don't think you did. So what's next is talking about the nursing program's cost, and we're on the home stretch. This is just a couple slides to go. We, in the folders that we give out to students who attend these nursing info sessions, we give them tuition and fee structure. We'll get that online as well. Laura put together a really fantastic handout that explains basically how much it's going to cost to take that nursing program here. And she also has some good reference material for if you were to start elsewhere. So do you just want to talk a little bit, Laura, about what those costs, kind of how the handout, what you had in mind when you designed it?
Yeah, I really wanted you to get an idea. I had a student email me several years ago and say, I need to get a loan and I need to know how much to get a loan for. And they asked me about the cost. And I was ashamed that I didn't really have an idea to even give them an estimate. when people start talking about books and tuition and fees, I just was, after being there so many years, I was kind of ashamed that I didn't really know or even have a guesstimate. So when I put together the document, I wanted to put it together by semester. So you're going to see by semester how much it's going to cost, what it would cost ending up with an LPN or going on for your RN, so that you kind of have an idea, because what Quentin said to you early on about getting your LPN, there are many people that want to do the LPN route because they need to get out there, they need to get a job. And then we have many, many students coming back after a year, 2 years, 10 years, however long it takes for the timing to be right for you. And they go out, they work as an LPN, they gain a lot of experience, make a little extra money, and when they're ready, when it's right for them, they come back into our RN program. So it just depends. So when you see this document, you're going to see how I laid it out for you semester by semester.
Laura, is that something that's available online?
I think Quentin might put it online. If not, I can definitely put it on the prospective nursing student page.
That would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll work on getting that online soon, hopefully today, so that you guys can reference that, because it is invaluable just to get an idea. We also have our foundation, IVCC's foundation. They are the office that basically gives out our scholarships. I cannot stress enough, and I know Valerie and Laura are the same, how important it is to apply for IVCC scholarships throughout this process. We have so many generous donors who want their money to go specifically to nursing students. In fact, when we have our awards banquet, nursing has its own section because there are so many scholarships out there. The minimum scholarship amount is $500. We have a very high rate of students who apply for scholarships that receive them. It's around 80%, maybe a little bit less. This past year in 2019, every student who applied received one. That's not totally normal, but it's always pretty high. But definitely apply, and you can get that information. You can Google IVCC Foundation. You can go to ivcc.edu/scholarships, and you'll see that. So the timing of that is going to be basically, you can pick up your scholarship application in December of each year, and then that is going to be due by the following February, usually the first week of February. So if you're looking at starting classes in the fall, whether it's the prereqs, whether it's the actual nursing program, the scholarship deadline for this coming academic year has passed. However, for next year, you want to be mindful of December and fill out that scholarship. Valerie, do you want to, or Laura, do you want to talk anything about that?
No, I think you did a great job, but I just want to say again, like Quentin, I just can't get over how many scholarships there are out there. And when the students say, oh, I didn't apply because I didn't think I would even get one. No, definitely apply. It's not a lot of work. So definitely try. There's help there.
Absolutely. So Laura, Valerie, is there anything else that I missed, or that just kind of came into your head lately that you guys want to talk about?
Well, I think you're doing a phenomenal job, Laura.
Yes. Well, not right now. You can see him at home, but normally I am at the college 5 days a week.
I thought that was your office. I thought, wow, that's a sweet office.
Yes.
I'm getting into nursing.
Yes. I'm there usually 5 days a week, and sometimes the prospective nursing students just like to sit down and talk. That's great. I love it. I love when you stop by my office. You can't miss my office. It's right down by all the nursing pictures. When you go down that hallway, you'll find me. I'm running around crazy in the hallway most of the time. I love to meet you. And unfortunately, the people that I meet before, I usually start giving you jobs before you even get in the nursing program. That very first June meeting, if I meet you sometime in the hallway, I'm going to say, hey, would you like to come and work for me? So look out. If you come and meet me, I'm going to put you to work. But I love having relationships with the students, and most of them call me mom by the end of the 2 years. And it's just, it's a great feeling to know the students so personally and know their families and hear from them. So I totally miss the students now that we've been at home. I just feel like one of my limbs have been cut off because I can't talk to the girls and the guys that are in the program. So definitely we're here for you, and if there's anything we can do for you, that's that's more than a job. It's what we do. Okay.
Laura, as long as you're saying that, I would like to interject to just say how I admire you and what a noble career you have. And you are just wonderful with students. I wondered if you might speak a little bit about the importance of this career, especially right now with people questioning their lives, their career decisions, and maybe you're looking for a new career because your life has been upended. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Well, you know, I'm a little biased about being in the healthcare field. I started when I was 15 and loved my years for being a certified nursing assistant. There's no better feeling than to go to work and just help somebody smile. I mean, literally giving somebody a drink of water you're going to be an angel that day. That's, you know, you're there to help them with daily living. I mean, just activities of daily living, brushing hair, brushing teeth, anything you can do to help patients. And then when you become an RN or an LPN, you're giving life-saving medication, and sometimes just holding a hand, or actually, which I'm really bad at, just listening because I'm the talker. And so yeah, just going to work and being there and knowing someone is looking at you to be their advocate. You know, if they can't talk, if they can't communicate, you're there for them. You are them. If they don't have family, you're there as their advocate. You're their protector. So there's some days you go to work and you're going to get called lots of not so nice names, but most of the time you're going to go to work and it's more than a job. It's what you are. It's who you are. And I always say nursing never ever stops on the floor. Never. You're a nurse. You are a nurse. That's what you are. That's who you are. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
I would like to thank you, and I would like to add that maybe you've tuned into this presentation and you're at the university and you're thinking of switching and coming back home. Maybe you're needed at home right now and your life at the university can't continue as you once thought it might. Know that if you come to IVCC and complete the RN program, you can continue on with your bachelor's degree by taking everything online in addition to that. We also have cooperative agreements with other universities, so call us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of courses. So real quick, I'm just going to go right back to the presentation. If you have those nursing specific questions right now, so you want to know what those nursing courses entail, or you want to know the job market, that's where Laura's going to be your resource. So you can email her those nursing curriculum specific questions of job market. I've said it before, I know, but if you have any questions at all about what is this going to look like for me, or what kind of content is in that anatomy and physiology, or, you know, my timeline is going to be different, reach out to Valerie or any of the counselors. I have to give Valerie and the counselors credit. This has been such a difficult time for everybody. I know the counselors have been bending over backwards to meet with students, whether it's on a video conference, whether it's on the phone. It's super, super cool to see. They've been helping students throughout all of this, and they'll continue to do so. So thank you, Valerie, for the work that you do.
Oh, thank you, Quentin.
If you have admission specific questions, so if it's documentation, if it's timeline, if it's I need hours worked or something like that, that's where you can reach out to me. We do a really good job of separation of powers with this. So with the nursing applications, Laura and Julie and the other folks in the nursing program, they're not part of that. We don't want any sort of implications of bias or anything along those lines. So when you're applying to the program, that's where I'm going to be your contact. When you're in the program, soon as I send that letter out saying, hey, you're admitted, that's when Laura and Julie and the rest of the nursing folks take over. And so that's just an idea for that. We've got a remind texting platform. So if you do have questions, you don't want to email, you can text the number 81010 and simply put in the message at IVCC nurse, and we'll respond to you with what we can through text. But in closing, as Valerie said, Laura, we can't thank you guys enough for the work that you do. You guys truly are a noble profession. I've witnessed it firsthand, how big of an impact a nurse can have on somebody's experience, on somebody's just general psyche. And so we're super excited for anybody who's watching this who wants to become a nurse. It's a very, very noble profession, like Valerie said. And we're just super excited that you've taken an interest in the program here, and we want to help in any way we can help you achieve those goals. Valerie, Laura, any closing remarks?
0360, or when we're back in person, 224-0800 if you'd like to be in Ottawa area. 815 area code.
Laura?
Okay, no, just did a wonderful job, Quentin, as always. And yeah, I'm going back to my little log cabin now and being safe here. But anyway, stop and see me. Love to meet you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks to everybody for watching the video.